Okay, well these are kefir grains. And they look like little cauliflowers. That's how they're generally described. And what you do, basically, I'm making a half-gallon. So I have my half-gallon jar. And I take my organic pastures milk, raw milk. I prefer raw, but you might not. And I put the whole half-gallon inside there. So that just covers it. This is the first part. So step one is just filling it up, covering it, and putting the lid on. And then waiting for about 24 hours and go for the next step. So here it is about probably 6 hours later, and already we are noticing some activity. It's already starting to separate too. We probably could change it by now, but I think I'm going to leave it be until the morning. Okay, so this is the next morning, and as you can see, it's fermented even more. I'm going to swirl it a little bit so that it mixes up at the bottom as well, although it's probably fine as well. So that was mixing and churning it so that the kefir grains reach the bottom of the jar as well, the milk at the bottom of the jar as well. And so we'll come back in a few hours. Okay, so it's definitely more than ready at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain it, and from there, the next step will be the second fermentation. In a strainer, through a strainer. I don't think it's going to get far with this thing up. But indeed, it's being strained. All that stuff that you see is a combination of the curds, and it's really bubbling, the curds and the whey. And what happens is that the whey is starting to separate from the actual curds. Okay, so this is what the kefir grains look like close up. I don't know how good you're getting that. But those are kefir grains. They kind of look like little cauliflowers. And here it is, the actual kefir itself. You can see it. This is what it pretty much looks like. And then the kefir inside the bowl. Try not to let my shadow get in the way. When I'm not using my kefir grains, I store them in milk, just, almost covering them like here. And I probably used maybe 1.5 cups of kefir grains to the half-gallon of milk that I used for the kefir that I made. And be aware, kefir does multiply. You'll have a lot of kefir, especially in the summer months. So what you'll want to do is figure out what to do with them. You can give them to friends. You can eat them, but the first time you try it, it might not be very appetizing for you. But you get used to it. They're great for you. They're full of probiotics and the B vitamins and everything else that the kefir is filled with. And now I'm going to pour this into a jug and then put an airlock on top, and then it will be ready for its second fermentation. Okay, this is what's called an airlock, and you can get it at a fermentation store or at a winemaking store, and then you fill it to about right here, line right here, with water, and then it seals in the air, and it allows for a second fermentation to take place. Okay, this is pretty much done. There's the airlock, and this is the result. The whey has separated from the kefir, but you just mix it up, and it is especially nutritious with folic acid, 116% more than in the regular kefir. And also it is filled with vitamin B12, the calcium, everything's intact, and it's just very nutritious. And then right behind there is the harsh crock, and not too long from now, what I'm going to do is describe the process of making fermented vegetables. So basically this is what they look like at the end. You just shake it up and it looks like regular milk, and it's pretty fizzy. And when you put it in the refrigerator, oftentimes it will separate again. So what you'll want to do is just shake it up before you open it, unless you just want to use the whey, which you can do. You can use the whey to soak grains or beans, things like that. And gosh, a great thing to make with it is shakes, or just to drink on its own. And especially when it's really cold, it's just awesome. So I hope you enjoyed and try it for yourself.